This is how we get Britain working again. It's how we get Britain growing again. And I commend this statement to the House.
Shadow Secretary of State Helen Whately.
Thank you, Madam Deputy Speaker, and I thank the Secretary of State for advance sight of her statement. The Conservatives are the party of work and aspiration. In the decade after we took over from Labour, we drove down unemployment.
The Shadow Secretary of State.
In the decade after we took over from Labour, we drove down unemployment and economic inactivity year after year, including youth unemployment, down by 400,000 after the mess we inherited from the last Labour government. During the pandemic, we took unprecedented action to protect jobs and livelihoods. But since the pandemic, we've faced a new and difficult challenge in this country: rising economic inactivity, particularly among young people. In government, we were tackling this. I know that because as Health Minister, I was working on it. Our Work Well pilots. I'm delighted that the Right Honourable Lady and the Health Secretary visited one of our Work Well pilots just the other day. And on our Fit Note reforms, our youth offer, which helped 1 million young people, and our universal support scheme, which I now hear the Secretary of State has quietly rebranded as her own Connect to Work scheme.
You're welcome.
But far from being cross that the government is pinching our ideas, I welcome the Right Honourable Lady taking our work forwards, and that she's making the right noises about how important this is to fix. Economic inactivity is a big problem for our economy and for each and every individual who risks being written off to a life on benefits. Knowing that, I am disappointed in the substance of what she is announcing today, because far from matching her rhetoric, this appears to be little more than a pot of money for local councils, some disparaging language about the work of job centres, and a consultation which will be launched in the spring. Given that they have had 14 years to prepare for this moment, is that it?
14 years.
Where are the reforms to benefits which will actually make material savings to the taxpayer, like the 12 billion we committed to save in our manifesto? Where are the reforms to Fit Notes, which we had handed over all ready to go? Where is her plan for reforming the workplace capability assessment? Right. She has banked the 3 billion of savings from our plan, but failed to set out her own. And her big announcement on making benefits for young people conditional, did she forget that they already are? The fact is, the Secretary of State has dodged the tough decisions. Every day she kicks the can down the road, costs the taxpayer millions of pounds, at this rate rising to 100 billion on sickness benefits by the end of this Parliament. Money that instead they are taking from farmers, from pensioners, from businesses, Madam Deputy Speaker. But to get people off benefits, you need jobs for them to go into. The very jobs businesses are saying, since the budget, they will no longer be hiring for. So while the Right Honourable Lady tries to get people into work, her Chancellor is busy destroying jobs. 50,000 jobs lost from her first budget alone. I put it to the Right Honourable Lady that if she wants to get more 18-year-olds into work, she should have a word with her Chancellor, who has made it so that from April it will cost £5,000 more for a business to employ them. And her Business Secretary, whose employment rights bill will, according to their own impact assessment, make it less likely for employers to take on young people. The government cannot solve this problem on their own. Businesses are the engine of our economy that create jobs for people to do. And it is telling, Madam Deputy Speaker, that I can't see a single business represented on their new Labour Market Advisory Board. I did hear the Right Honourable Lady talk about some new partnerships. But this announcement is such a song and dance about so little, I feel sure she will qualify for one of her own Royal Shakespeare Company apprenticeships. She has kicked the can. She's kicked the can so far down the road that her new partner, the Premier League, is sure to be on the phone by the end of the day. Madam Deputy Speaker, can I for a moment cut through the word soup of the announcement? It is time for the Right Honourable Lady to tell the House some facts. How many people will this help into work, and by when? What is the total she is saving the taxpayer? When will she reach her 80% employment target? What return on investment is she expecting from these plans? How will she measure her success or failure? Because this is so far from the bold grasping of the nettle that she is making it out to be, and that this country needs for our economy, for taxpayers, and for the millions of people missing out on the purpose and freedom that work brings. This is simply not good enough.
True of State.
May I gently say to the Honourable Lady, who I personally like and have a great deal of time for, the only people who dodge difficult decisions on welfare are the party opposite. And the facts speak for themselves. By the end of this Parliament, the OBR says 420,000 more people will be on health-related universal credit benefits, rising from a third now to a half at the end of the Parliament. That's her government's legacy. 1 in 8 of all of our young people are now not in education, employment or training. We have seen a doubling of the number of those young people out of work due to long-term sickness, and a doubling of those young people out of work because of mental health problems. After 14 years in government, who does she actually think is responsible for that? And I'm afraid the truth is now staring her in the face. The Conservatives are now the party of welfare, and Labour is the party of work. She talks about British businesses. I mean, I know only too well the pressures many businesses face, and we have spoken to the CBI, the Federation of Small Businesses, the British Chamber of Commerce, and they are really keen to work with us on our proposals. They know their members have hundreds of thousands of vacancies they need to fill, 1 in 3 of which are because of skills gaps. They know that 300,000 people every single year fall out of work due to a health condition, and that they need support to try and tackle that problem. I believe that the DWP and job centres should serve businesses' needs and aspirations, not be the place of last resort, which is precisely what our reforms will deliver. And I would finally just say this. The biggest challenge we face today is the growing number of people out of work or at risk of falling out of work due to health problems or a disability. And our entire employment and benefit system are simply not geared up to deal with this. We will take examples of good practice from wherever we find them, but we have got to go much further, much further. We need big reforms, not easy slogans that say people just felt a bit too bluesy to work, that do nothing to help people get to grips with the real issues in their lives. We are facing up to our responsibilities and the difficult decisions necessary to get Britain working again. It's time she and her party opposite did the same.
Chair of the Work and Pensions Select Committee, Debbie Abrahams.
Madam Deputy Speaker, and I warmly welcome my right honourable friend's statement, and I look forward to reading the white paper later, and particularly in terms of the cross-departmental approach that she's taking with colleagues. I think this is absolutely essential and a breath of fresh air, particularly in relation to tackling the root causes of economic inactivity, which she's explained is around predominantly ill health. In addition to tackling the regional inequalities in employment, she'll be aware that there's also a 30% disability employment gap, with 2.25 million disabled people who want to work and who are able to work. So how will she be specifically tackling this real injustice? We know that disabled people are more likely to be living in poverty than other groups. What are her specific plans in this regard?
I thank my honourable friend for that. important question. Myself and the